Hi, nice to see you. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. I'm Pedro Gonzalez. I'm from Paraguay. I'm here just doing one semester of hospitality management in Montclair State University. I'm doing the UGrad program.
And you speak English amazingly well, so how did you learn it?
So I'm self-taught. I just learned it by listening, actually. I listened to a bunch of songs and tried to pronounce exactly as they were pronouncing the words. Then I recorded myself and then tried to hear the difference and try to pronounce better. It was just like a fun game, basically. So I just started that way, then just translating like texts and video games and books, and just went on with it.
And what was it that fascinated you about English in the first place?
That is so widely used. Like I said, I started with just music, then I went into trying to understand my video games, then I went into comic books, then to actual books, like complicated books and poetry and stuff. And it's everywhere. Once internet just blew off in my country, everything we needed for school was in English. Even now in college, every information that I need for my courses is better explained in English, like on YouTube, like YouTube tutorials about statistics and financial math. Everything on YouTube is available, is super well explained, even better than in Spanish. So I just take advantage of that.
And what can you say about language instruction in Latin America and in your country in particular?
The methods they use.
Yes,
normally.
and just were you satisfied with language instruction back at school? What was it like?
Normally they teach you some basic English, just the colors, numbers, just basic English, in the majority of schools. But then, people just don't use it as much. There is one big institution back in Paraguay that is called the CCPA. They do this. They use this immersion method. That will be just putting the students into an environment that is completely in English. So the student speaks in English, no Spanish at all, nothing in Spanish, but they have like a bunch of visual cues. So you have like the fruits and colors and instructions or something like going to the bathroom, how it's pronounced, etc. All over the place. So by being in an environment just thrown there, they are supposed to be just acquiring the language that way. That's the most popular way to teach English back home. This is the method that is widely spread there. Then there are older institutions like the one I worked in, there's Elevate English, where based more on pronunciation. So in repetition and listening to the pronunciation of the teacher, trying to repeat that and just match it. And the teacher is there to correct you. So I prefer that one just because that's how I learned basically. Just listening, repeating, correcting pronunciation, and it sounds better, it sounds more natural. Instead of just, you will learn the grammar and stuff through the immersion method, is good too. But just based on pronunciation and just having a first, how do you call that? Your first impression of someone that is speaking English, like kind of like I'm doing now, is like, okay, you learned this like a long time ago, you've been practicing a lot, so you can just pronounce this way, just practicing how to pronounce it properly. So even though they're just basic phrases, if you know how to pronounce them properly, you will sound amazingly good. And that's really good for interviews, for work and travel interviews, everything else.
So you think the focus should be on pronunciation, not just on grammar, on vocabulary?
Yeah, both, obviously. Just depending on their goals. Normally, if they're wanting to do a work and travel, for example, the work and travel program, they just need to know certain things and certain vocabulary that is not like based on like grammar and knowing the structure of the language. They just have to know how to deal with people, introduce themselves, maybe know how to do some technical vocabulary about hotel management or cleaning products, etc. So if you are more specific towards that and you're learning about the pronunciation of things you're going to be using in the interview, that will be a lot more productive, because when the interviewer listens to you, they will say, oh yeah, this will be really good. This person will get along fine in the USA or any other speaking.
So it's all about making an impression, you think?
Yeah.
So pronunciation should be the focus of it.
Yeah, if you want to make a good impression, especially in interviews, pronunciation should be the focus.
But what kind of accent do you think should be an example? Because in English you have all sorts of British accents, American accents. So when you were learning English, what kind of accent did you try to imitate?
Because I was listening to American music, so yeah, well, I acquired the American accent. Like instead of the actual T pronunciations, like no, it doesn't matter, or something is it doesn't matter. Better, Saturday. So that pronunciation is the one I acquired. That it sounded kind of weird when I went to actually study in the CCPA. Like Saturday was kind of weird because I was used to hearing Saturday. So yeah. Actually, by listening, you get those little tips and tricks to pronounce it like an American would do.
So in Latin America, there is more focus on American English, because back home there is more focus on British, this Queen English, and it sounds a bit strange sometimes, but still.
Yeah, we use actually, like at the CCPA that I told you is the big one, they use British books from Oxford, but normally the pronunciation of the audios are like American English. Sometimes they have different students like recording the audios from the book for the books, so you have an array of different pronunciations, like Asian people pronouncing like reading a conversation or something. That is in the Oxford books.
Yeah, this World English is.
Yeah, World English, but mostly it's the American English because the music they use for the exercises or the accent of the teachers normally is American. So the focus is more American English than British.
So do you have mostly native speakers of English or just people from your country teaching
normally,
English?
Yeah, the majority are. They're not native speakers. The great majority of them. There are some, obviously.
But still, they have this good American accent. They try to acquire
they
it.
have the American accent again with the R's.